Jesus Christ, you people suck. Wow. Wolverine wanted to be just...
Back in the days when we played video games, it was hardcore for the nerdy and lazy. Now things have changed and all our video games are also for the casual and lady.
But that's okay, you know the score. We told you a million times before. Playing consoles, not just games, is in the past. And every week you listen to the best damn internet radio crew. It's the N4G podcast. It's the N4G podcast.
All right, it's time for another week. N4G Radio. This is episode 660 for July 19th, 2021. And it's a two-man show this week. It is me, it is Anthony. What's up?
I just heard everybody go click.
Yeah, they do that every week. I don't even know why they bother to download it.
Yeah. Well, you can stream them now. You don't even have to download it. You can just start it up, stream it, and then go, never mind.
I'm pretty sure I don't download any podcasts. I just stream them.
Yeah, me too. I used to have to, right? Because of, using an iPod, but...
Yeah, I basically just turn on my phone, let it stream.
Those days are over now.
Yeah, no longer have to worry about where that file be stored. Anyway, so yeah, everybody's out this week, so we're going to talk some video games. I guess
We'll end up talking about the big one at the end, I figure, after you go through your list of...
yeah, that's all. Well, I did pick up some other stuff, but yeah, I spent most of the time.
So up until Friday, I played mostly Super Mario Odyssey. I am going for all the moons.
Oh my!
Yeah. So I'm at 810, and there's 880. It takes also 5,000 something coin. 5,000. I think they're 500 piece. No, they're 50 piece. 5,800, I think, or something like that, to get or no, 5,200. Anyways, to get to 999, which gives you a different ending, or bonus ending, whatever. So far, the Dark Side of the Moon, which I did a couple of stuff on when I borrowed it from a friend originally. That's definitely more difficult. What I like is that they bring back previous challenges where you had Cappy, and now it's kind of remixed to where you don't have Cappy. This is not a spoiler, by the way, for a
What was the thing,
4-year-old
4-year-old game? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not really a spoiler. It's not like there's a story portion to that. It's just that you have to leave Cappy on a scarecrow before you go in the door to these other worlds. Those are difficult, but they're difficult. I mean, I was having an issue with one because I feel like the hit detection's off, but they're difficult, but they're doable. I realized most of the time it was my fault. Still to this day, volleyball is doable. I just didn't want to spend the time on it. So there's 2 moons I'm missing in the standard kingdoms that you have to go through, and one of them is volleyball. Do you know what the other one is, Ken?
Is it probably the jump rope?
It's the fucking jump rope.
What is the number you got to get for that?
100. So it's 20. It's 20 for the first moon, and it's 100 for the second.
Oh, you can't do 100,
dude.
I thought there was a moon for 1,000 because I did 200 my first try.
Oh my god, I don't know how, because he doesn't jump at the same height. So when it speeds up, he starts doing bigger jumps, and that fucks up your rhythm, right?
Oh.
So I'm like, well, if I get the motor scooter, it's always a continuous jump, but driving it to the point where you're in the jump rope is a pain in the ass. But yeah, no, it's only 100. The volleyball, I just didn't want to waste time on it until after. I figured I'd leave those two till the end. But man, it's such a good fucking game.
Yeah.
I didn't. My dumbass hadn't even walked into the courtyard from 64.
Oh,
At this
really?
point, I don't. Yeah, no, I had the costume. I even bought the metal Mario costume because everything's cooler when you reflect the environment. But yeah, I just didn't realize there was a toad standing there. Was kind of disappointed that the courtyard was just the courtyard and there wasn't any booze in it. But you know, I think that game, the only thing that I would have added to Super Mario Odyssey is one world from Mario 64. It's the only way that game would have been better, was just like one extra level from 64. But yeah, I was addicted to that, and then I picked up another copy of Penguin Wars. I figure at this point I'm just doing it for the meme of it all. I have a physical copy on Switch and PS4 because it was the only way to get it on PS4. And I bought it used, and someone had cut out the ESRB ratings, and it annoyed the shit out of me, and I found a brand new copy for like $30 and went, yep, screw it, I'm replacing it, and I'll just hand this copy off to a friend. So, it's such a bizarre thing. I've never seen anyone like... The copy I bought has the same ESRB rating, so it's not like it was their answer to, fixing the problem of a wrong ESRB rating. Doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah, that's it for me, Ken. Why don't you go through your stuff?
Hold on, I forgot to tweet. I have to tweet.
No, you don't.
Why not?
They're not sending us messages. Get one. Fuck that guy. Yeah, that's accurate.
I mean, that's fine. I'm okay with that. All right. Well, I'll start with I returned to A Plague Tale, and I'm now, I think, I'm at the farm. Did you play the game?
I own it. I have not ever started it up. Again, that's the reason why, I guess, spoiler for everybody. Spoiler. No. I'm not reviewing anymore. It's like there's so much crap that I've been told to play, not just by you, but by and not just people from the site, like other stuff that I just haven't experienced, that I'm like, I need to burn through the backlog to a huge extent. So it was just one of those things where it's like, and wanting to play a game like Super Mario Odyssey, I wanted to pour way more time into, and I just remember having to ditch it when I borrowed it from my friend. So, yeah, no, I want to play Plague Tale. I picked it up from in December, 2 years ago, I think, and wanted to play it really bad. But I think I also got Star Wars Fallen Order, and I chose that and didn't have a super fun time with that, but I liked what I played. I never finished that either. Again, another game I want to go burn off. Yeah, the list. It's just no, I have not played it. Ken, tell me about it.
Well, at first I was like, okay, so this is like a stealth narrative-driven game, which I was fine with. Then threw in some combat that kind of turned me off a little bit, and then it kind of turns into, so once it's no spoiler, the rats are kind of like the focus of that game.
Yes, and like it's not a spoiler that the brother controls them or something like that.
Well, that hasn't happened in the game yet.
Then I may be wrong.
Well, I'm only on chapter 5, I think, of 17.
Do you control the rats then?
No, so the beginning
maybe
is...
I must have the wrong thing.
Maybe it happens later in the game. I don't know.
You know what I'm thinking of? I just realized it. I'm thinking of Dishonored.
Oh, yeah. You're thinking of the plague rats.
Yeah, the plague rats. Yeah.
Well, these rats are plague rats, too. And there's definitely an underlying story. There's something going on with the little boy. Like, every time the rats appear, he gets, like, a headache or something.
Okay, then.
And I just ran into a character that told me that, like, my family was evil. Like, there's darkness in our bloodline or something. So maybe he does control the rats at some point. I don't know. But yeah, it starts off like a stealth game. Then it did the combat, which I wasn't really digging. But then it kind of the combat's not really there all the time. It's very rare that you have to perform combat. But once the rats are introduced, it becomes more of like a puzzle game. So the rats are like averse to light. So what you'll do is you have to get torches and light your way through these areas so that you're not attacked by the rats. It's not really hard, and any time that it's a challenge, it's more of like a trial and error kind of challenge. Like, hey, here you get from point A to point B, but oh, you messed up, you got eaten by the rats, so you just did the wrong thing. I will say
that's how real life goes too. Oh, you were eaten by the rats.
yeah, I
Shame.
get my extra man, my extra dude. But this game is very pretty. Like visually, it looks incredible, especially now that it's been upgraded for the new machines. It's very much driven around the story, and I don't know. Like, I'm somewhat invested in it, but at the same time, there's parts of it that I'm just like, I don't really care. So we'll see. I know that
it's in that same. I don't want to. Not genre, but it's the same sort of motif that Greedfall has, right? So.
Yeah, it's kind of got that, like, that aesthetic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do know that I am really tired of hearing, Amicia, Hugo, Amicia, Hugo. Like, they say that constantly, yelling at each other. So, no, maybe I'm going to try to finish it. Like I said, I want to see what the hubbub's all about. Everybody's talked about that game a lot, and I have not finished it. So, I picked up an old game that I had sitting in my backlog called Round Guard. You ever play that?
I've never even heard of it.
Okay, so Round Guard it's a run-based game. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
A bouncy dungeon crawler?
It's a Peggle game.
Oh my god, it's Peggle.
Yeah, it's fucking run-based Peggle with RPG mechanics.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, this game is cool, man. Like, you take your little dude and you kind of like gear him up, and then you throw him into these things and bounce him off enemies and potions, and I mean, it's straight Peggle. And I had a ball messing around with that game.
Oh, and it's on sale on the eShop today.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well,
Play some Round Guard. It's essentially RPG Peggle.
listen, I've played Peggle while we're doing this show, so...
Dude, I've played so much Peggle in my life. Oh,
I've never played Peggle 2, though.
really? Oh, it's so good.
It's not available on Steam, and that's where I played Peggle. I love the mouse
Oh, that's right,
controls.
because it's EA.
Yeah, and I just went, alright, well, you know, I'm the money and it's fine.
So Peggle was my first phone game on my Android phone.
I mean, it was just downhill from there then.
Yeah, I mean, Angry Birds was fun for a little while, but I got tired of that, but I've never gotten tired of Peggle.
Angry Birds, the problem is that you could do the same shot twice and the physics don't act the same, so...
Yeah.
You know, Peggle's pretty on top of that. Peggle and the original Plants vs. Zombies.
I never got into PvZ.
Oh, I loved Plants vs. Zombies. Again, another game I played on PC, and then the second one never came to Steam. Or it was... No, the second one of those had like a bunch of microtransactions, and I just went, no.
Yep.
That's right, because I think it is on Steam. Or was, anyways.
A lot of games in that era were ruined with microtransactions.
Michael transactions?
That's a joke, don't you know? Somebody said that on the show once, and that's just what I'm going to call it. Yeah.
Oh, man. Maybe I wasn't listening then?
I love my microtransactions. I also picked up Zombies Ate My Neighbor / Ghoul Patrol pack. I forgot how fun that game was. You gonna tell me you've never played Zombies?
No, I played it emulated, and I went, yes, alright. It wasn't my thing. I don't I don't know what I'm missing. I just didn't. I didn't love it. I don't hate it. It's not a bad game. It's by far not a bad game. I never played Ghoul Patrol. I've heard that one's bad, but I don't know if that's just in
I mean,
comparison to
there's a
the
reason
first
why.
game.
Yeah, there's a reason why we would talk about Zombies Ate My Neighbors, but we don't talk about Ghoul Patrol.
It was like not my thing. Maybe if I went back to it, I'd find some weird joy in it, but at the time, it just didn't click. I mean, this was over a decade ago.
That's a long
Well,
time.
over that actually, because I would have been like early teens when I was playing emulated stuff on the computer. So
I'm playing two games I can't talk about, but I'm excited to talk about one of them, which is Death's Door. Next week. Talk about
so I can already tell like that.
that you would like Death's Door.
No, that it's not a roguelike.
Yeah, it's more like it's got a
An
little
action adventure.
It's an action adventure, but it's got a little bit of Souls in it, where you can get these shortcuts to make the trip shorter back to the boss.
Okay, neat. I know it's not the same people, and I didn't like Titan Souls, which was their last game.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't
like
care
the
for Titan
design
Souls
of the monsters,
either.
but Titan Souls, there was just some. It was like I don't remember what boss I was fighting. But I'm like, this is not fun at this point. Like, this is very boring. I'm walking a long way to fight a boss, and it's just not fun. It's not a puzzle, really. Yeah, no. But it reminds me of stories a bit, like watching this in what is it called again? Death's Door.
Death's Door, yeah. You
Yeah,
play
watching
like a
like
Grim Reaper. Yeah.
Am I got the wrong game then? No,
It's the
you're a
Crow.
Raven, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
okay.
Raven, the Crow, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it just reminded me of stories, like a more grim version of stories.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's not the dialogue there, but like the way that the character was moving, I was like, oh yeah, that reminds me a lot of Renard. So
Yeah, it's fairly similar as far as like the combat and things like that are concerned. There's definitely quite a bit to it, and I think that its aesthetic and kind of the way that it plays does that game a lot of favors. So, I'm also playing Samurai Warriors 5, but I mean I can't talk about it even though like you can probably guess what kind of game that is.
hey everybody, guess what type of game a Warriors game is?
Right? All right. Yeah. So the indie games, I played quite a few this week. It was a weird collection this week. So the big one was Bloodroots, which has been out on, I think, PC and PlayStation for a long time. And I didn't really know what that game was when I started playing it, but I found out real quick. It is similar to a Katana Zero, where like you're presented with an area, and the objective is to kind of go through it fast and stylish, performing lots of cool moves. So like your dude can pick up axes and throw them, or he can get on a barrel and knock people over, or he can ride like a cart to take out enemies. And it's really based on how fast and like how much of the environment you use to kill everybody in the arena before getting to the end. And it's literally a one-hit death. So if you get hit, then you start that section over again. And it's really like stylized. It reminds me a lot of a Clay game back from like the days of like Shank or Mark of the Ninja, really over stylized cartoon.
Before they went into more like strategy stuff.
I'm just referring to the art style of
okay.
like how Shank looked. Like it's like a comic book kind of.
Yeah. Hard, sharp edges and everything.
Yeah, like real, like you would think there's like a big black thick outline around the character kind of thing. Yeah, but it plays really good. It's really fast paced. It's very gory. Like there's blood everywhere.
Blood everywhere.
Blood everywhere. But anyway, it was fun. Two of the indie games this week are horizontal shooters. The first one is called Ice Cream Surfer. And it legitimately, one of the characters in the game is a dude surfing on an ice cream cone.
All right. Yeah, I am looking at it. It's very odd.
Yeah.
There is you okay, that is a nightmare. Did you get to like the lettuce boss?
Yeah, like everything is like,
Yeah, that's not like that's actually disturbing. Like
yeah, these weird, like horizontal. Both of the horizontal shooters this week are very weird. The other one's called Kuyo Blaster, which I actually had played on the Switch a while back before I played this version, and that one is just as weird. Like these games allow you to pick a character, and the character is like this, like robot or a little anime girl or surfer dude, and they're just riding on a weird. Horizontal shooters are weird,
nobody
man.
wants to be Parodius or oh no, Parodius is vertical. Where is it?
I mean, Parodius is what you're thinking of, where it's just
I,
awkward shooter,
no,
though.
Parodius, yeah, Parodius is side scrolling. Okay, I did have that right. There's another one that is vertical that's not Parodius. And then there's the other one that's
Joaniki.
Cho and wow, yeah, you were right. Yeah. Cho Niki is the one I was thinking of. The uncomfortable uh whatever you want to call
The
it.
big men in speedos.
Homoerotic.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
I remember Choaniki being a big deal back in the PlayStation import days. People were like, "You gotta see this game." I was like, "Whoa, okay."
yeah.
The next
The,
game.
the,
Oh, go ahead.
speaking of just Cho Niki, there is one where it's like digitized photos, and it reminds me of the creepy WarioWare title, WarioWare games, but the micro games where you'd like have like a digitized person, you'd be like, this is actually really fucked up,
Yeah,
and that's that whole. I think it's the Saturn one or something like that, where they were doing a lot of digitized stuff. Like the Shinobi game was digitized too, and it's just this really fucked up game. Like Choniki's already weird, but then it's like semi-realistic. Uh, yeah, yeah. No. All right,
Cho
sorry. Cut you off
Choaniki
there.
reminds me of, for some reason, I think it's probably just dudes in speedos of "Amount Your Friends."
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of weird inspiration there.
All right. The next game is called Wizard. That's the one we joked about last week. So this is just like a twin stick shooter, um, dungeon crawler. So you basically have a square Metroid style map. You go room to room. You got to clear the room before the doors unlock. And the objective is to go through the
Is it?
dungeon, find the boss, kill him.
Am I looking? Did it get like graphics change, or is it still super boring looking?
It's very boring looking.
Okay.
Yeah, it's extremely,
Yeah, if you
extremely
want a twin
boring.
stick shooter that goes through like a dungeon, give me a second. I can't remember. I remember what the original one was called. Um, because it was Iron Fisticle was the first one, and then
That's a good name.
but then they ended up releasing it. Iron Cryptical
Oh, I
is like
remember that
the
game. Yeah,
semi sequel. That game is so good,
Wizard,
and that's a twin
not
stick
great.
shooter. Oh, that's kind of a shame. I do
Um,
like twin stick shooters that have a little bit more to them. There's another one by it was like it was a Robotron-esque, and you'd power up between each round, and you could like drop little sentries. You're a little robot. Then I can't remember what it was called
you
either.
can power up in Wizard, like you can pick up speed boosts
Yeah, but
and
can you power up the graphics? It's kind of
no,
a
no,
game.
you
No,
cannot.
and I understand not everybody's an artist, but like when you know, there's that weird shooter that first. Have you seen that weird first person shooter that like looks like a vaporwave nightmare?
I don't know.
Uh,
Maybe.
I will find out the name, but like you know, Wizard just kind of looks like you're playing an MS DOS game, and not a high tier one either.
And what's funny is like there was a theme this week, and that's not the only one of those I played. The other one I played has probably the most peculiar box art I've ever seen. This game is called Restless Night, and made me feel like I was playing an Atari 2600 game. It's a twin stick shooter where you're basically just taking out wave after wave after wave of like creatures, and they get more complicated. As it starts off with zombies, then it goes to zombies and ravens, and then
I don't even know if I would say it looks like Atari. It looks like ASCII art.
yeah, it's a weird.
Oh, I'm assuming you played that on console.
Yes,
Does it have the curved screen effect on that as well?
yes,
I mean, that's at least trying. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
they're doing something interesting. It's also got positive reviews on Steam.
I mean, it was.
Well, and
I played
reviews,
through
but-
I played up to the boss wave, and it's not like I hated it. The box art really throws me off because it reminds me of like an actual like old Atari game with like the '70s art style. It's a weird box art.
By the way, the game I was thinking of was Cruelty Squad.
Oh, I have not seen this game.
Oh,
That looks like a mess.
it like some of those textures will move too. It's like from
God,
what I've heard, it's like a nightmarish Deus Ex.
that is
You like change your organs and stuff, and yeah,
Yeah.
like looking into that game, I was like, what the fuck am I looking at?
I don't know what you're looking at. That's a weird looking game.
Overwhelmingly positive reviews.
Yeah,
This game is like a cult classic already.
This is
You
this year's Hades, I guess.
I guess I don't know. Hades feels like far more popular than this. You shoot out your intestines to like grapple.
Okay.
Because this is just anything that's not. You shoot guys and they explode into like bubbles of blood that just sit there in the air.
I find it very interesting about like the games that are the talk among like the cool kids, for lack of a better word. What was that game last year? Was it called
Yeah,
Valhalla? The survival game?
No, Valhalla. No, I know what you're talking about. Um, oh my God, give me a second. I'll just look at my Steam's
Valheim.
friend list. I'm sure
Valheim.
Valheim. I was gonna say somebody's probably playing it.
Everybody talked
Yeah.
about that for like a month, and now I have not heard a word about that game since.
We are also not those people. You know, well, there was two last year. It was that one, and then there was the ghost hunting game.
Well, Hades was on there last year too. And the ghost
Yeah, but
hunting
Hades-
game is oh my god, all the streamers play that
Era
game.
something, right? Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. It's escaping me for some reason.
It's just always interesting to me to know what kind of that group of people is talking about, because a lot of times they'll talk about it like it's the next thing since sliced bread, and then you won't hear about the game ever again.
Oh, Phasmophobia was the game.
Streamers still play that game though.
Oh, I'm sure they do. It's weird. I look up ghost hunting game, and then for some reason it just wrote. Ghost hunting game, Phasmophobia, Ghost Hunter's Core, Midnight Ghost Hunt, and then do you remember the PS2 game Ghost Hunter?
Oh yeah, the Capcom or no,
It's
it was one of those
it was-
Japanese games. I know what you're talking
oh
about.
well, it was developed by Guerrilla,
Oh
Cambridge,
really?
but it was published by Namco in the States. Yeah, Namco. It was published by Namco in the States. It wasn't published by Sony over here
What the hell?
for some reason.
Which game
And
was
that game
it?
goes for a lot of money for some fucking reason.
Well, that's like
Alright.
Rule of Rose goes for a bunch of money. That game fucking sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've never understood the weird PS2 horror games. Like, I understand why Silent Hill, but like Ghost Hunter is not a bad game, but it's a bad Shadow Man.
Oh, you
I-
remember the Konami game you control with the headset? Was it Lifeline?
Lifeline. I never played it. I wanted to as a kid, and in hindsight, I go, "Oh man, I would have probably had a fucking. It would have been
Oh,
a
it was awful.
nightmare."
It was awful.
I remember Hey You Pikachu, and I can't imagine we went beyond that.
There was this time when headsets were included with your console where they made some really fucked up games.
I think Manhunt still has the best use of a microphone on.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. There was one
PS2.
on. There was another one. Oh god, it was like a military game where you could control your squad.
Well, I was thinking there's the GameCube game, Odama
Yeah, Odama's the pinball, like,
pinball, where you have to tell your squad to get out of the way of the
yeah.
fucking pinball.
I just can't talk to my
Uh,
video games. I've never been able to talk to my technology. It makes me feel awkward.
I don't mind it if it's like small, but I don't tell me to talk to the character. It especially nowadays where we're getting into weird stuff like the female android from the opening screen of the game that I couldn't play because she turned me off of the game so much.
Oh, Detroit?
Detroit, yeah, yeah, definitely don't bring that back, thanks.
I remember giving my family history to Seaman. He actually asks you
Yeah,
that. And
yeah,
then
I've heard nightmare stories of where Seaman goes with
he
the
remembers
information.
too. Like when you would come back to talk to him, he would ask how like your girlfriend or your sister or whoever you told him about is doing. It's mm.
Uh, well, I mean, Odama was the same guy, so
Yeah, he creeped me
he's
out.
got he's got some weird concepts.
There were some, and that microphone was not just used for that. It was also used for that alien attack game on the Dreamcast and a couple other things. Dreamcast was a weird system. A lot of weird shit on that console. Still has the best fishing controller though. Fuck every other fishing controller. That thing was the bomb.
We need fishing controllers to come back. I hate to say it, but like bring because I hate having to buy peripherals, but bring back fishing controllers. I miss a good fishing controller.
But I'd need a good fishing game with it.
Okay, so my favorite fishing game is still Final Fantasy 15 because I spent an hour reeling in the fish, and that was on the successful catch.
Man, I still give me some Sega
Uh,
Bass Fishing. I'm all about that game.
but
Fish
I want
on,
people. I want.
fish
You know,
on.
it's another good fishing game that they ruined because they removed the RPG elements. Legend of the River King.
Oh yeah, I remember that game.
Oh, the two Game Boy games are great, and then that series just decided to be like Fishing Harvest Moon, and
Oh, everything
no,
becomes Harvest Moon at some point.
yeah,
That's
I
that's
guess
the way. That's the natural way.
it's like the everything becomes a crab in evolution.
Well, yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. I'm just gonna say crabification. I literally have crab in Google search.
Crabification.
I've Google searched crabification.
Well, you done ruined your Google search algorithm now.
It's called carcinization.
Oh, well, there you go. It's
But
no, it's
crabification
officially
sounds
called
horrible.
crabification. It's officially called crabification now. That's the new word for it.
Uh,
Count it.
yeah.
All right,
Nature loves a crab. Anyway, sorry.
two games left. One of them I couldn't play, which was Lost at Sea, which depresses me because that sounded like a neat game.
Isn't Lost at Sea already out?
Well, I mean,
Is
it
that?
just came out this week.
Oh no, sorry, that is not the game. What is the? Give me a second. I have to look at my wall. I have a game called something similar.
I don't know. This is an indie newer game where
Okay. The game I was thinking of was Lost Sea, which was an indie title, and that was like one of the earliest limited run games. So that's the reason why I was like,
oh yeah, no.
even if you look at Lost at Sea game, Lost Sea is the third hit on Google Image.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. This game just came out, and it's about a woman who's struggling with like a some issues mentally, and like she goes into this nightmare world of like abandoned island. But I couldn't play it because number one, it doesn't have any inversion for the first person controls, and secondly, it does not have a way to pause the game. So like I was pressing the start and the back buttons and all the other buttons, and nothing was happening, and I was like trying to figure out if I could switch my controls, and then the options, there's no controls. I was like, I can't play this. And then the last game was the Ratalaika game, which was Within the Blade, which is a 2D side-scrolling mixture of ninja stealth and action. And it's not very good.
All right. So the big game
Yeah.
is Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD.
Yeah.
Don't worry about not getting an amiibo. Apparently Nintendo couldn't get them out fast enough, so
Man, I'm still mad about the fact that they're locking a quality of life feature behind a fucking $25 amiibo.
a lot of people have been trying to bring up the Metroid Samus Returns hard mode as an equivalent, and I'm going to say that no, it's not. I realized that, like, yeah, trying to get the Metroid. I don't know why I thought it was a Zero Suit Samus amiibo, but which I picked up too recently because I figure, good lord, I don't know what amiibos are going to work with the new Metroid game, and that's annoying. It's great once you can use them with multiple games and they unlock stuff throughout multiple games because it's like paying for DLC once and then applying to a bunch of other games. But none of the other amiibos, none of the other Zelda amiibos work with Skyward Sword HD. They work with Twilight Princess.
They work with Breath of the Wild too.
Yes, I mean that one was kind of the obvious one, but I mean like because that's kind of when they released a bunch of amiibos, but like Twilight Princess, which is a port, right, of a let's say the Wii game, but it's technically a port of the GameCube one, and it's a full remaster, which we'll have a conversation about. Like it still allowed you to use other amiibo, so like the Ganondorf amiibo unlocked a hard mode. Again, no one complained about it really that, not to the same level that they're complaining about the Metroid one because of the Skyward Sword. Like the Skyward Sword one, like. Yeah, it would be nice to return to the sky from anywhere. Now, I haven't had that problem yet.
Well, I mean, there's a save spot
But-
like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, but I do understand the upset. Like, I'm upset I couldn't get one. Like, I would have liked to have had it.
So
be
let
able
me
to
ask
just
you a
work
question.
the
In
sky.
order to actually do it, do you have to scan it every time, or do you just scan it once and then you can just do it?
I bet you have to scan it every time.
Okay, fuck that. That's stupid.
I don't know because you can save amiibo to the console. I'm pretty sure, right?
Most games allow you to store the amiibo. Yeah.
So like with Mario Odyssey, every time you want to search for a moon location and you're using a Mario amiibo, you have to scan an amiibo. But that being said, it also tells you what amiibo it is scanned. So it's like, oh, you scanned the Dr. Mario one out. That's the one that's looking for a star right now. It'll be another 5 minutes. Do you want to scan another amiibo? So it's like, I guess you can't save them that way because it's not. So I don't know, but yeah, it's that was poorly handled. They should have just not done that.
Yeah, you think?
I mean, like, is it too much to ask for a different costume or something? Like, but I think that brings me to my first problem with this game is, boy, looking at it, sometimes it looks very pretty, and at other times yeah, this is a fucking Wii game.
Yeah, for sure. And Nintendo gets away with a lot of shit, but I will want to say one thing about Nintendo is that their art direction is very, very good.
I think this game,
It's the most boring of the Zeldas, maybe next to Twilight Princess.
no, I mean, like, visually, first of all, I never liked Fish Lip Link. I didn't like it in Twilight Princess, and it's even worse here. But looking at when you played it on a Wii, I mean, it looked. I think part of it because it was blurry. It did kind of look like an impressionist painting, and when I'm playing it in high definition, that stuff doesn't look as good.
Yeah, it's just like when you high res a pixel art, it doesn't quite look
Yeah.
the way it was supposed to.
Right. So it's one of those like, oh, they didn't put the same effort into the graphics as they did with Twilight Princess, which was like a full remaster, right? They didn't do the same work as they did with Wind Waker. And I know those are more beloved games, but it's like in this attempt to second sell this,
Or third sell it.
Skyward Sword?
Came out on the Wii and the Wii U.
Skyward Sword did not come out on the Wii U as anything but a Wii. Like if you buy the Skyward Sword on the Wii U, it is just the Wii game that starts up. It's not a remaster.
Was it the original, or did they actually make a SKU for it? I thought they made a SKU for it.
No,
Maybe I'm wrong.
No. You're wrong. Like they Skyward Sword. If you buy a digital copy of, because that's the only way it came out.
Oh, that's right. That's when they were doing just digital versions, like
of Wii
Mario
games.
Galaxy.
Yeah.
Okay,
And when you start those up, you just don't have to start up the Wii mode. Play them. They just start up and they automatically boot the Wii.
Gotcha. That's what it was. Okay, I was trying to remember when I started playing it, and I was like, "This came out on the Wii, right? No, the Wii U. No, okay."
They did the Metroid Prime trilogy the same way.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I mean, it made sense because very weirdly, Skyward Sword was hard to track down for a long time.
I remember that.
Which is weird because it was a big seller still. And like I paid full price for mine, and this was years after the fact that it came out. And like I found a new copy sitting in a grocery store of all things. In their like rundown electronics department. Yeah, like it's nice that they're reissuing this, but it's like I don't think they're doing it doesn't do a very good job of making you love this game that maybe you didn't feel was as good, right? Like I know that the opinion of Wind Waker was that it wasn't realistic enough when it came out, and people came around on that. And Twilight Princess, I think we all can feel now that the beginning is a bit slow, but that game does turn into something special. I think the dialogue was a little overwhelming positive at the beginning, but it's like you return to that game, and I feel like they've given you reason to remember what was great about it. And in Skyward Sword HD, I'm like, yeah, you just ported this, and you had to make the changes because literally you had to make the changes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean the changes had to be made because they don't have
the Wii control.
Exactly. But I do say that those changes are making that game better.
Oh, so for sure, I tried the motion control.
Haha, no.
Yeah.
I didn't even bother. I turned it off immediately at the beginning.
Here's why I hate the motion control. It's easier to swing your sword. Or it was easier at first to realize how to swing the sword. I thought I had to like point down and then up, but no, you just flick the stick in the direction that you want Link to swipe.
Mm-hmm.
But flying the loft wing with the motion control was absolutely abysmal. I'm not doing this anymore. It still feels like, yeah, there's times where you would definitely be better off with the motion control. It's odd because it's like, yeah, you get the full camera control all the time. L.
Yeah, you gotta hold the button, which I feel like
they should have reversed it, right?
Yeah, they should have made it so when you wanted to use the sword, you had to pull the trigger, but yeah.
Or the item that you're using. Like I don't get why they wouldn't have done that. Because like half the time I don't need my sword out. So what's the fucking point of having not the camera control? I'm just holding L down.
Yeah, you're just literally holding a button down constantly.
Neither control is exactly what it should be. And I understand that part of that is from the difficulty of porting this game over, but like, good God, it's just I don't know how you ended up on these two options as the main options. Like again, just had the L pulls out your sword, I might have been like, all right, good.
Yeah, now I'm controlling my sword.
But you know, it is what it is. Yeah, the game is far. Oh my God, the fact that I don't have to listen to Fee. I mean,
the fact that it doesn't pop a cutscene every time you pick up an item.
Yeah, and then you can skip cutscenes.
Yeah, you can skip them. You can fast forward through the dialogue. It's
like it's weird because I'm like I'm seeing, not really remembering, re-experiencing. It's not like I'm having a flashback in my mind. like funny parts, like when the Loftwing wakes up Link at the beginning, and its stupid big googly eyes, it just kind of spacing out, and then just spits the letter out on the ground, and then it pops its head back out. I'm like, for some reason, like slapstick humor. I'm like, that really works. Like, it made me laugh, and like, it's just certain things. I'm like, yeah, this is great, and then. It's probably the most lovey-dovey story between Link and Zelda.
Oh yeah.
Um, you know, man, just some of the stuff is like, even now, still, I'm like, all right,
Can we talk about the
get,
biggest improvement to this game? Can we?
uh, which is,
I made it to Farron Woods within an hour.
I definitely took my time going through this again because I fucking abandoned this game
You're
on
gonna
Wii.
abandon it again if you keep trying to do everything because this game is too fucking long.
I mean, I'm still like, I think maybe max 4 hours, and I'm in the temple and stuff, just taking my time.
I am in the volcanic area already. I just got there. I got the bombs for the first time, which, by the way, is so much better with an analog stick than trying to Wii bowl.
Yeah, well,
Oh my god, it's so much better. The beetle is so much better.
oh god, yeah. Again, the fucking tilting and the moving and it doesn't work that well. It didn't work that well on Wii, and it's weird because if you play Wii Sports Resort with the same motion controls, they work incredibly good. It's just because you're not doing a fucking stupid ass adventure where it has to be all these things, and it worked. The original Wii controller works fine with Zack and Wiki, but I fucking hated not Twilight Princess. The Twilight Princess controls seem like fucking godsend in comparison to the Wii version of this. And it's
Because
like
they
I
tried
get
to
it.
do they tried to do more than the Wii was capable of.
But this thing flies with it. And it's like also speaking of inverted controls, thank God that's an option.
And on everything. Like there's
But I
three
mean like
different inversions, so
flying without inverted controls never made sense to me. Like I should pull down to go up.
I am still mad that the boss of the first temple is the fucking goofy elf dude, and I'm like, man, I really want like a big monster boss instead of this guy because I don't. The sword fighting is not great. I would rather have used like my items that I obtained in the dungeon to fight the final. Whatever.
Well, I mean they really wanted to show off their stupid motion controls, which I
Yeah.
mean don't really work. I, yeah, Gira. Yeah, I couldn't remember how to even now.
Or whatever his
Girahim
fucking name.
with his big lips and
His tongue. God.
man, I just remember I hate because I remember looking up the story and I'm like, yeah, this is dumb. They really sold this game on being the first in the timeline, and I really wish they hadn't. Also, somebody pointed out it's really weird seeing them refer to 25 years as a special event. Because, like, this game came out on the 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
They're like, 25 years ago is when we opened our thing. And it's like, yeah, we're a decade later.
I don't know why Nintendo. Well, it's Nintendo. So I guess I do know why, but I don't know why they don't just remaster or remake Link to the Past or Ocarina. Like, those are
Well,
the games.
you know what? I don't want them to remake Link to the Past. Because I don't think anything is going to look as good as the pixel art.
Maybe not, but what if they did it in the Link's Awakening style? I mean, that'd be
okay.
pretty
You know what I
rad.
prefer? You know, I'd prefer if they took their 3D models that they had for Link Between Worlds and just use those because they are the art style from.
So, like a high def
Like,
version of that?
I mean, yeah, I don't think you'd have to do too much work on the textures and stuff. It's just because the resolution of the 3DS screen isn't great, right? So, because I've seen the up-res version of a lot of the 3DS games through emulator, and like they look fantastic. So, it's whatever they're doing to that. I think it's because mostly they're flat polygons, or not flat, or shaded polygons, right? They're not textured heavily. So, just take that game's graphics and put that on A Link to the Past. But it's like, yeah, it feels like kind of a fuck you on the 35th anniversary of
Skyward
Zelda for
Sword.
this to be the only thing, and it's like
They've got to
partially
be doing
because
more. They have to be doing more.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Because it's also the 35th anniversary of Metroid, and like I know Metroid's getting a new
Well,
game,
Nintendo doesn't give
but
a shit
it's
about
like,
Metroid.
yeah, you say that, but they're coming out with a new game. Like they
That's been in
redid
development
Samus
for what, like-
Returns. Well, no one was asking for a Samus Returns remake, and they did, or a Return to Samus remake, and they did it, right? So it's like they don't obviously hate that franchise. It obviously does well enough to make money. But
I don't.
Zelda,
I've
as a
heard
marketing
stories that
beast, like,
Nintendo of Japan absolutely despises Metroid.
I've also heard stories that Mother 3 is coming out, so you know how my feelings of stories.
Well, I'm
from
not talking about
Nintendo.
rumors. I'm talking about legitimately the company in Japan does not care for Metroid because it is not a big seller.
Over there, but I mean, obviously, it makes money because they would. The better example is everybody seems to hate F-Zero because it doesn't make money. You know, like Sega's the guy from Yakuza who did F-Zero is willing to make another one, but it's just Nintendo's call. But anyways, I feel like this is kind of like a real shit offering for the 35th. And like, to be clear, I'm not hating this game. Playing through it again, it's definitely better than the Wii version. I'm having a good time. But like, it is disappointing that this is it.
Yeah. I was really hoping for that Wind Waker Twilight Princess pack.
Even if that's not what they're going to port over, which
I
would
mean,
love
those
for them
make
to port it
sense.
over.
Like, those two games make perfect sense to port.
Where's but what I'm saying is, it's like, if that's not what they want to port over, where is my, like, if they don't want to port over the remaster, like, where's my Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask? Like, where is any of this, all this content? And it's like, I know Nintendo's one that puts it in the vault and shit, like Disney, but it's like,
But they don't
I
put
would
it in the
really-
vault. They've re-released those games so many times.
exactly. That's my problem. Like, they put a bunch of stuff away and then don't return to it. And this is like the first time I've not been able to play this game really since it launched on a Nintendo console.
Yeah.
Think about it. 3DS was the first handheld console that could do Majora's Mask and Ocarina, even though you probably pull it off on DS, Ocarina anyways. But okay, so you get full remakes on there, or not remakes, remasters, whatever. Who gives a shit? Remakes. But on the N64, you have Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, right? Two beloved games. They were available on GameCube. You could play that on the Wii, but they also sold those games on the Wii, and then they also sold those games on the Wii U, and now Switch, and like, absolutely not. And I think I'm a bigger Majora's fan than Ocarina of Time, but you can't even play Ocarina of Time. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just give me those ROMs on a cartridge. Like, do whatever you did with the Mario collection.
Well, I
You
think
know,
maybe
like
that
3D
was their
All-Stars?
plan and things got bumped. I don't know. I feel like I feel like those things have to be coming. Like a Zelda 3D collection, maybe Majora Ocarina.
Ocarina, Majora, and like, I don't give a shit what else you put in there. Like, shit, I'll buy a collection of. Listen, they're gonna sell Wind Waker and Twilight Princess separate if they reissue them.
That's because we'll buy them.
Yes, but I don't think you could do that with Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask. However, take the 3D models and the work that. What's Grezzo doing? Did Grezzo close?
I have
Grezzo
no
is
idea.
the people that did the. No, they're still around. What the fuck are they doing? They just ported Miitopia onto Switch. Have them port the fucking Zelda games.
Dude, I don't
Oh,
understand why
God.
Nintendo doesn't have more. I don't know why Nintendo's not dumping 20 games onto the Super Nintendo libraries every month.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
why
don't
Nintendo
understand
do
it
what
either.
Nintendo do. I don't
But I mean,
know.
like, can I just this? So Grezzo did some game called Line Attack Heroes in 2010, but in 2011 they did Ocarina of Time 3. Then they ported Four Swords Anniversary Edition. They did a Street Pass game. They did some game design for Legend of Legacy, but then they ported Majora's Mask in 2015. Co-developed Triforce Heroes, which I think is my least favorite Zelda game. Uh, it's not really a mainline one, but it's also claimed to be the sequel to A Link to the Past, the direct, the direct sequel, which I think is a bigger abomination than Skyward Sword being the start story. Um, and then they did their own game, Ever Oasis, which is kind of a Zelda game. Then they ported Luigi's Mansion, and like they've had some other stuff in between, but like they clearly know Zelda. Why Miitopia? Bring
Why not?
bring me my fucking. Well, it's just like they did two great remasters. I know some people hate the Majora's Mask 3D remaster, but I love that game. I think it's great. Um, Bring those over. Like they're stuck on a console that has a low resolution. And they're great 3D models. And boy, that's the way to play those games because the N64 games do not look great.
Well, I mean, what do you
But
expect?
I have to just point this out too. Going back to Skyward Sword, like wow, I totally see how they got to Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, that game was like a template for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, like oh, the stamina gauge,
The
the
climbing
semi,
walls. I mean,
yeah, this semi-open world that isn't really paid off on. Um,
yep.
God, what was the other thing? Oh, breaking weapons, but
Yeah,
the
your
shield obviously
shield
breaks.
weapon breaking like elemental effects to your weapons and shields and yeah,
Yeah,
that game
it's like
is.
one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, now I see the direct thing. Like maybe we should move further from those elements.
Oh, breaking
No.
news. I'll talk about that in a
Oh,
minute.
okay.
Um,
Well, that's my. Anyways, I don't hate this game. I'm not trying to shit on it completely. I just it
I
does
I
feel weird that this is it, and that to be honest, it doesn't feel as well done as what they put out on the Wii U, which wasn't right. Like it just, if I wish the love and care that Link's Awakening, which I mean was a full remake, there was no old code in that. But like you look at Twilight Princess, like they redid. I don't remember who did it. It was a third party, but they should have had a third come and do whatever they did with those games on this. And that's where I kind of just be like, you're asking for the amiibo. Like I'm playing the game, and yeah, you the proper improvements that you had to do, but I feel like that's where you stopped, and like there could have been more to this game that you would change without fundamentally changing that. Like, why does this game not look more like Breath of the in terms of visuals? Like, I don't think it's as strong as Breath of the Wild is because it looks like a Wii game from 10 years ago.
I mean, even all that said, boy, it feels good to get back to some core Zelda.
From you mean Breath of the Wild?
Well, Breath of the Wild didn't have like traditional dungeons.
Dungeons. Yeah, I missed the puzzles. Like the
Yeah,
puzzles were the best part of Breath of the Wild, and once I finished those, I was like, guess it's time to finish the game now.
yeah. Like
And
I
I preferred
literally
the
went into
combat.
that first temple and I was like, oh man, it's been too long since I've done one of these. I don't know. I don't hate that game. I don't think it's the best Zelda. I think it's one of the worst Zeldas, but I'm still.
It's a bad. So from the bottom, I would go Triforce Heroes, and then probably this.
I think I hated
Um,
Spirit Tracks more than this.
okay, well I didn't want to say it because I don't like Spirit Tracks. I liked Phantom Hourglass more than Spirit Tracks.
Yeah, I don't like those two games. But I like Spirit Tracks even less than Phantom Hourglass.
But because I should probably reevaluate Spirit Tracks. I know I played that when it came out and was like, okay, I don't really care for this as much as I did Phantom Hourglass. The um, God, what's it called? Novelty is worn off, but
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I go back, I would enjoy it more. But yeah, it's still a good game. I won't say it's a bad game. It's not gonna blow anyone away though. That joke because they're in the sky.
Well, you can blow into the 3DS for one of the Zelda
Oh
games.
no,
right?
I meant the Skyward Sword.
Oh yeah, no, Skyward
Skyward
Sword
Sword's not gonna
is.
blow anyway, but it's like not a bad game.
No, I'm enjoying
Like
playing
it's a
it, and
bad Zelda game. It's not the best. It's by far one of the worst Zelda games, but that still makes it a pretty good game.
yeah, Zelda games are some of the best ever made, and even the worst one is going to be better than most of its clones. That's just the way it works.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about what's coming out this week. This week actually starts the big Game Pass, the summer to fall Game Pass stuff, like all those day one releases.
Okay.
This week
What comes
starts
out this
them.
week?
So Chris Tales is that RPG from Devolver, I believe it's Devolver. That's a day one Game Pass. Death's Door is out this week. That's not on Game Pass, I don't think. In the Rays of Light, The Last Stop, which is that narrative-driven, like loop-based game. That's a day one in Game Pass.
Chris Tales is published by Modus.
Sorry, Modus.
The Last Stop.
The Last Stop is that we've talked about this game a bunch, and like it was in one of those showcases where this guy's talking to the people at work, and he keeps getting to do the thing over and over again to try to do it right.
Oh man, okay, yeah, that's right. You talked about this before. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. The only reason.
Yeah, Annapurna publishing it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So that's in Game Pass, so you'll be able to check that out. And then Orcs Must Die 3 is also out on consoles this week. That's it for the new consoles. So PS4, Xbox One, we've got Akiba's Trip, Hellbound, and Debriefed. That's not coming to both. This is just for those machines. Blasphemous Deluxe Edition, Cotton Reboot. You all remember Cotton? Ender Lilies making its way over to PlayStation. The Sims 4 Cottage Living. Urban Trial Tricky Deluxe Edition. Blue Fire making its way over to PlayStation. That's that action adventure game I talked about last week. Mind Maze. A lot of the stuff we've already talked about. Chris Tales, Death's Door. Those are all coming to PS4 and Xbox One as well. The Last Rolling Hero. Airy Calm Mind. Scrap Garden, and Where the Snow Settles. And Nintendo Switch.
Sims Cottage Life. All I can picture is like a sim that's addicted to eating cottage cheese,
I know cottage always makes me think of cottage cheese. I can't help it.
and it's not a pleasant thought.
No, cottage cheese is a bad thing. Switch. SpaceX Commander. Akiba's Trip, Blasphemous, Cotton Reboot, Chris Tales, Mind Maze, all those games we were talking about. Steam, Rails to Riches, Complete Edition, Terra Trilogy, Fatal 12, Mousebot, Escape from Cat Lab, Pokemon Unite. What is that? Something can't have a Pokemon name without being official, so what? It's a strategic team battle game being developed by the Pokemon Company and Tencent Games.
Oh, there you go.
Interesting. Hashtag Pinocchio Super Puzzles Dream. Okay. Bishujo Battle Mahjong Solitaire. Bunny Bounce. Naya Common Adventures. Racing Extreme 2, Terra Bomber, Terra Lander, Terra Lander 2 Rock Slide Rescue. That's a lot. Timothy versus the Aliens. Woodblock Escape Puzzles 3. 112 Operator. The Nino Space Adventure. Freddy Spaghetti 2. Hunter Shooting Champ. And Truck Simulator 2.
Thank God that Freddy Spaghetti saga continues.
Yes. I was wondering where Freddy Spaghetti would go next.
The lore.
Absolutely. All right, time for some news. I'll start with the breaking news because I'm the only one who cares. Overwatch Summer Games returns on Tuesday. Yay.
Yeah.
Sorry. An excuse to grind boxes for myself. All right. This is the week of delays. Normally we get one, maybe two. This week we got a lot. So we'll start off with our Resident Evil RE-verse. How you say it? Reverse has been delayed to 2022.
That's a weird one because wasn't it supposed to like launch
Yeah.
around?
It came
Yeah.
with Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It even downloaded on my machine when I got the game. And now it's been delayed to 2022. I'm like, why even do it? Who the fuck is going to play that in 2022?
No one's wanted it.
Nobody was going to play it in 2021. I don't know. Ubisoft delayed Riders Republic to later this year and Rainbow Six Extraction to next year. The Xbox exclusive Game Pass Day 1 Warhammer 40k Darktide has been delayed to 2022. And Ghostwire Tokyo has been delayed to 2022. Which means the
Not
Xbox...
surprising, so we hadn't really seen anything.
Yeah, that game got rebooted, so I think that's probably why. Which means we won't see it on Xbox till 2023. An Xbox published game from an Xbox Game Studios team is not coming out till 2023. Oh, I love contracts. Don't you love contracts? EA has announced that there will be no Star Wars games at EA Play.
Yeah, not a surprise.
I was kind of expecting to see Fallen Order 2. I really was.
Because we're moving into the end of their contract, right? Their exclusivity contract?
Well, their exclusivity contract's already over. Don't you remember Ubisoft announced one?
No, their contract wasn't over. Their contract was going to be over this year. I don't think it's done until like the end of the year. And then, but Ubisoft has to start working on it now.
Well, there was another company working on one too, I think.
Yes, but I believe it was not because the contract was over, but that there was like the end was in sight, and Disney said it will no longer be exclusive.
Well, it's no longer
Afterwards.
exclusive, but EA still has the rights to make games. I think.
Yeah, but EA are big babies, and they'll take their ball home and not allow others to play. So
Well, I don't know. Nickelodeon Smash Clone All-Star Brawl was announced, and the internet went banana sandwich.
yeah, it looks pretty good actually.
I mean, it's published by Game Mill, though, so...
Yeah, but I like the Nick Kart racing game.
I mean, I like
Second
it
one,
too,
not the
but
first
let's look
one.
at their other releases, shall we?
Oh,
G.I.
please pull them
Joe,
up.
the Rise of Cobra,
Transformers.
that Karate Kid game, Cobra Kai. I mean,
I
those
think
are
they
all...
might have. Give me a second.
I mean, their track record's not great.
Big Buck Hunter. Big rigs over the road racing.
Yeah.
Cartoon Network Battle Crashers, Cobra Kai, Frozen, Olaf's Quest. I
Come
thought
on.
they had. Hold on, now I have to. Wow. Crappy Games Wiki has a page for Game Entertainment.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to whoop ass as Powdered Toast Man as much as everybody else does. Okay? But, come on.
I thought they were the ones that published that Ice Age game too. But no, they are not.
Activision did that, I think.
No.
Maneater DLC called Truth Quest has been dated for the end of August.
Yay.
I mean, sharks and aliens? Come on, man. Telling me you don't want to play that? I want to play that.
I'm gonna play it. I've reviewed that game twice.
That game is wonderful. I will buy DLC for that game.
So after we covered last week the biggest sell, most expensive game ever sold, it was beaten 1 week before, right as we finished the podcast.
Yeah, it was beaten, and then a bunch more popped up, which led me to believe I was correct in saying that this is a money laundering scheme.
I don't think it's a money laundering scheme.
Somebody bought a copy of Oblivion.
Okay, give me a minute. I don't think it's a money laundering scheme. I believe because money laundering scheme means you have dirty money that needs to look clean, right? That is not what I think is happening here. I don't think money's being moved at all. I think this is totally internal. It's all looks like there's money being changed because, let's be honest, there's zero reason why Super Mario 64 sells for over 1 million. Ever. Miyamoto would have had to, cover that box in his own shit for there to be any sort of weird value increase. Like, blessed from the gods and themselves. Horseshit. It's... The thing is that, like, it's a popular game. People know what it is. It's sealed. We've slabbed it. And it'll get us press if it sells for a lot. Because it's one of the most common games, if not the most. So, how does Super Mario 64 sell for more than the Nintendo PlayStation? Or, in other ways of putting it, how does one of the most popular video games of all time, which we definitely still sealed copies out there, right? Whether you want to say the grading's different or not, how does this sell for a third of Action Comics 1? That's the original Superman comic. Because that only sold for $3-point-something million. Right? And there's only a couple of those in existence still. So there's zero reason, but it always gets press. It always gets press from not video game sources either. So my assumption is that there's no money being traded hands. And I'm not the only one that thinks this, because I'm interested in what the fuck is going on with this mess. It's that they have some attachment to the grading company. That they make money off of this somehow. Because every game that's graded, people pay for that. Well, I have a sealed copy of Super Mario 64. Maybe there's a bunch of them, right? People start thinking they have $1 million seller. They send it off to WADA to get graded. And then WADA only sells through heritage auctions. There's something fucky. I mean, maybe it's money laundering. I just don't.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that smart.
I ain't got the slightest idea. I can play Super Mario 64 for less than $1 million. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like, there's a bunch of rare games that don't sell for this. Like, how did a Nintendo World Championship cartridge sell for less than Super Mario 64? It doesn't make any sense. There's less of them.
It's all stupid.
Yeah.
All right, the last three stories I have are all kind of sort of big, but we'll start with the NP.
Do you have the before you do one? Do you have the Take-Two news?
Take-Two news.
Yeah, they've taken down a bunch of GTA San Andreas and GTA Vice City mods. They've been up for years.
Nope, didn't
They
even
did a
see this.
big DMCA notice on a bunch of mods. Like one of them was a way for you to play the Vice City and Liberty City Stories games on PC because those never got released. There was just the PSP and PS2 versions.
Hmm.
There was another one that combined all the maps into one game. That's gone. It's San Andreas is 16 years old, and they're going after mods on a game
It's
that
Rockstar.
old. Well, they said they wouldn't. That's the thing. Like, they also said they would never do that, but now they are because, let's be honest, that's not what their priority is anymore. Don't make single-player games.
No, they're about online games.
So I just thought that was interesting that these mods have been up for this long. And I mean, there's been other shit happening in the mods community where like Nexus has removed the ability for mod creators to take down their mods after a bunch of mod creators basically would take them down because they had a pissy fit. Yeah, it's a very weird scene that like is kind of dying off in general, anyways. And it's like, let's be honest. Did you know that there was the mod that combined all the maps into one, or that you could play this stories games on PC via mods?
No,
No, like
I do
until
now.
I saw it. Yeah, exactly. But like, no one was paying attention to this, and yeah, now everybody's looking. It's like that's really fucking weird for a company to go and do that. Really, they weren't infringing on any sales, so just bizarre. Anyways, sorry,
Ooh.
your news.
NPD this month was very interesting. Xbox was the top dollar seller. The Nintendo Switch was the best-selling unit-wise. But seeing Xbox make NPD news,
Yeah,
that's big news. So, this sparked a conversation across the internet that is as old as time itself. Psychonauts 2 has an invincibility mode. And it made people mad.
Oh my god, I forget the gentleman's name. He's in a wheelchair.
Steven Spawn.
Yeah, Spawn. Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he
Steven's
brought
a
up-
great guy, yeah.
yeah, and like Steven, he pointed out that it's not for you. Like if you're like taking offense to it, yeah, it's not there for. It's for people who may not be able to physically do it. And
I
that's
mean,
the thing, like,
yeah.
like when we talk about video games, and like I realize that some people just don't have the finances for the stuff. I totally understand that, and like, Nintendo does a pretty good job with their Mario games because like give you invincible things after a couple of tries.
Sony's truly the best
I
at
was
it.
gonna say Sony's the best at it, and I gotta give special credit to Naughty Dog in particular. They have the best version. I mean, still want to know how the fuck you can play Last of Us 2 without being able to see, but they say it's possible. People have said it's possible, so I'll take their word for it. It's not for you, and that's the reason why when there's dialogue about like, man, everybody should play Dark Souls. Well, these people want to play it too. Like, you either want people to play the video games that you like, or you want to keep it insular. Am I using that word properly? I think I am. You want to keep it like in your little clique. You can't have both. You can't have your game. You can't tell people to be like play the game I like, but then be like also you have to like it the exact same way I do. It's not how that works at all. Like it's just such a weird thing that this conversation keeps coming up. No one's asking that Dark Souls online gets like infested by people who are invincible because
No, just
nobody's
disable that.
asking-
If you turn those things on, just disable that. It's not.
and enough with the well, it changes their vision. No. How the fuck, if your vision is I'm trying to be a pain in the ass, congratulations. That's not a good game design. And that's not what Dark Souls ever has been. So I don't understand how that's the
Because they've
Like-
they've taken it as their own. They've made their own kind of mental
because
narrative.
they think that being good at video games is some sort of
Oh, dude, I play
honor.
Overwatch online. You have no idea how good
Like,
people think their
just-
lives are.
it's just like unless you're getting paid, fuck off.
Yeah,
Like,
you don't mean shit. I don't care that you
don't-
roasted me. I don't.
I don't get God, I'm forgetting the terms right now. I don't get intrinsic value out of video games generally. I get extrinsic value, meaning that I get extrinsic enjoyment out of it. I don't play like fighting games asks you to be better and that's the reason why generally I don't play fighting games. I don't if I wanted to become good at something, I would put that into something more applicable.
Something that's
Right,
gonna
I
pay
would-
my bills.
Yeah, so I play video games to play your story or have fun, and that's what a lot. And so, if putting an invincibility mode in a video game is what some people need to enjoy that video game, then so be it. I understand how you might be like, well, it's not the same experience. Yeah, but it's not going to be the same experience just based off the fact that everybody has different experiences up until the point of playing that video game. A lot of people, if you've played a stealth game before Metal Gear Solid, you might look at Metal Gear Solid as a very, you might not think it's a very good stealth game because it operates off of sort of simplified mechanics, right? It's not working off of dark and light or sound for that much either, but it's working mostly off of like the vision cones and stuff. And so, like, if you played Thief first and then you went to Metal Gear Solid, you might look it down upon Metal Gear Thief. You might still enjoy the other game, right? But it's different because you've played other things before it. Not to mention just life in general being different. So, like, I don't understand why, like, this conversation keeps happening. I don't think there's a good enough reason to make games inaccessible for crowds. Like, you and I would play a Dark Souls on easy mode.
Absolutely.
I'm totally willing to admit that. And I'm totally fine with not taking achievements or anything with that, right? But it's like, there is stuff I would love to experience, but I'm not going to invest the time into that game when I don't think I'm getting enough out of it either. Not when I could be doing that with playing bass more or drawing. Like, why would I put the value into being good at one video game? It's not for me, and I totally understand if that is too. I'm not trying to criticize.
Yeah, I don't care if
but-
you take pride in being good at a video
But
game.
don't use that pride against other people.
No, there's no
that's
point
where
in
that
it.
problem comes in. Yeah, exactly. Like, ooh, it's like saying I'm really good at playing guitar. Are you getting paid for it? No, then I don't. Then like, okay, great, you're really good at guitar, man. I don't know what you're telling. Like, what the point is. It's like the guy that comes into the room and needs to be better than everybody and one up everybody. Okay, all right. Well, what the fuck does that add to this?
Doesn't
I just
add
don't
anything.
get it. So, I'm happy that it's there. I won't use it. I don't think Psychonauts 2 is going to be that difficult of a game. Or at least I fucking hope not. It'd be really weird. But, no, I'm glad it's there. I just, the conversation seems to have shifted a little bit in the favor of getting angry. But I know that there's people angry there still. It's hard to argue when someone who is physically disabled is telling you why it's there. You just look like an asshole.
I mean, they just look like an asshole anyway.
I mean, yes, but it really shows.
If you're online bragging about your video game accomplishments and talking down to other people,
that's where it comes in. If you're bragging about your accomplishments, I totally understand. If you're using it to talk down to people, fuck you.
yeah. If you want to act like you're a better person because you can beat Dark Souls, then I mean that's where the Drew joke comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he beat Dark Souls, and I would just tell him, well, that just makes you better than everybody else.
And just like, I don't know. It's a weird thing that I just like. I guess it's another maybe it's in other hobbies too. It's just like the hobbies that I'm attached to outside of video games don't seem to have that same sort of braggadocious talking down of others. Yeah, in the art world there's some weirdos, but like it's easy to kind of ignore because they don't really affect you. I don't know. It's a very odd thing, and I don't understand it, and it's annoying to keep having. I get it.
All right, last story. The Switch.
Oh, I know what this is.
The Switch killer.
Remember when everything was called a Halo killer? Did anything kill Halo other than itself?
No, it killed itself.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what people think of when they are like, well, it's gonna kill the Switch. No, it's not. Not at all. It's a totally different audience.
Yeah, like I don't understand. So for those who don't know, Valve announced the Steam Deck, which is essentially, let's just
Terrible
call it
name.
what it is. It's a Switch, but a PC.
Gabe Gear.
Gabe Gear. That was a
Gabe
good
Gear
one.
Gabe Gear is the best.
Yeah, Gabe Gear was pretty good. But it's a portable handheld PC. Will be released in December. Comes in 3 flavors, 3 sizes. The 64, the 256, and the 512, starting at $399 and going up to, what that big one was, $529 or $629. Is a lot.
It doesn't matter. You can't buy one.
No, they're still taking pre-orders. They're just further back.
Okay, I was gonna say. I just remember that Steam like crashed.
Steam did crash. There were some issues, but I did like the way they handled it. You could not purchase one if you had not purchased a game on Steam before June of 2021. So any new scalper bots were pretty much locked out.
I'm trying to find that picture of all 3 of them.
Yeah, I think it's $629. I think it's $399, $549, and $629 if I remember. But
it's $399, $529, $649.
$649. Okay, I was close. And all the differences is the 2 bigger versions have like a glass tempered screen and more memory.
Faster too, because they're NVMe.
Oh, they do have the NVMe.
Yes, so they're both NVMe's. On the higher ones, it's just eMMC on the 64.
Which is probably how they got it at $399.
Yeah, and so the 256 has the faster storage, but it's the same build as the 64. The 512 is the one that has the anti-glare etched glass.
Okay. I knew one of them had a different screen, at least.
And like, okay. My thing still is one, and like a friend pointed this out to me. Just wait, because like Valve has a not the greatest track record with supporting hardware. I bought a Steam Link for like $5, and I have a Steam controller that I bought for like $30, $40 maybe. So it's like, wait, I'm sure this will do better than those because it's more desirable.
I mean, it's sold really well on the pre-orders, that's for sure.
It's just saying this is a Switch killer. Like, one, it's not going to be available on Switch. So no, it's not. 2, it's still not going to have the reasons why you buy Nintendo consoles, anyways, because it's not going to have Zelda, it's not going to have Mario, and before anyone brings up emulators, that doesn't count. That still requires a little bit more knowledge than buying the thing and putting the thing in the other thing. And like, yeah, you have to kind of still have some PC knowledge. Like, it's probably easier than just playing on PC, but and people are like, well, I have the big library. It's like, yeah, I understand that. Like, I understand the the reasons why you'd want to own this, but saying it's a Switch killer, like that is not the reason why I wanted to Switch. I wanted to Switch because there was games on the Switch that were only on the Switch.
Yeah,
because
like
Nintendo
Nintendo
makes
games are the
for the
big.
Switch.
The Nintendo games are the big thing. They always will be.
Right. So, and the Switch is for children. Let's be honest with ourselves. The Switch is kid friendly. This is not at all in the slightest.
No.
So it's like it's not the same crowd. Like it's they're very similar devices because they're both hands, and that's where kind of the similarities end. That I mean, they look similar because the screen it's a widescreen with controllers on the side, but like that's it. Like I don't see it. I don't see it. I see it as a nice thing to have on the market, but not a thing that's going to compete with the standard console fare.
Yeah. I was very proud of myself today or the other day because both this and the Switch OLED, the SWOLED, went on sale, and I didn't buy either one.
I don't have a need for the Switch OLED, and as much as I would like one of these Steam handhelds, I am going to wait. I'm going to wait until people have their hands on the hardware and see what actually works with it well. Because that's another thing too. Like I want to know because it's running Steam OS, and I know there's some sort of like program that Linux can use to play Windows only games, but like I want to know how well it works. I want to know how it feels in the hands because like that's another thing too. The controls look like
Yeah, they don't look great.
that. What were they thinking? Those controls. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's neat.
people asked,
It's
people ask me about both of those because I'm one of those people that buys everything, like hardware wise, and like I didn't buy either one of these, and it's because neither one of them have any practical use for me. Like I have a Switch, I play it docked 100% of the time. So the Switch OLED is not for me. I don't play a ton of PC games, and if I did, I wouldn't play. Like if I bought this thing, I would dock it. And at this point, I have an HDMI cable running from my PC, so kind of the same thing.
yeah.
So I don't really have a use for it. So
Yeah, it's for a specific crowd, and
I hope they love it.
like, yep. I hope it works. I think you'll see a revision if it's but I might be wrong. I also thought the Steam controller was gonna take, so not always right. But I could see a revision happening where the controls are fixed a bit.
Yep. Last breaking piece.
Also,
of
weird
news.
question. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Is it a touchscreen?
Yes.
Okay, that I didn't know for sure. So I was like, maybe you control it with the Steam controller. One of those is just your mouse, basically.
This has those little pads on the side too for your mouse, but it
Yeah.
also has a touchscreen. One
Alright,
piece,
then.
one piece of last late breaking news: Skate 4 will also not be at EA Play.
Nothing will be at EA Play. Good night.
It's the Dead Space remaster, and that's it. Because they've already canceled Dragon Age and Mass Effect, and
It's
then,
just
and then Star Wars, and then
Don't
now
worry.
Skate. So it's like, why are you guys
it's
even
just gonna be
doing
a
a show?
Battlefield. Here's 70 minutes on Battlefield. Like
No, thank you.
we're going to do a live stream of the campaign we canceled. Battlefield.
Oh, that would be cold blooded.
Uh,
Yeah. So that's I was like not even planning to watch EA Play. I'm definitely not planning to watch. I'll watch the trailer for the Dead Space remaster. That's what I'll do. To kind of piggyback, we only have one tweet. We have an email, and it's the Assassin's Creed thing, but I want to wait
Ryan.
for at least Ryan to be on the show for that. We did get a tweet from Shogun Beats. He says, "Who is the Steam Deck for? Hardcore traveling rich gamers? Great concept, but I don't know if I understand who it's for."
It's for people that only play PC. I mean, like, gaming laptops exist, but at that point, you're just kind of lugging a brick around. And I'm sure this is more helpful. It's not like people on PC don't play without a controller, you know, or only play without a controller. Like, not all just mouse and keyboard people. Um, Plus, if any of the trackpads work decently, um, I could see people trying to get this to be a controller, because that was the whole thing with the Steam controller. Was on PC you only have analog look. You don't have analog movement. So an analog stick mixed with like a little mouse pad on the side, with like still having like buttons that you can click with your fingers, I could see that working, but it's for PC people. It's for PC people to play the stuff that they play at home on the go. Because, I mean, it'll still have Steam Cloud storage, right? So your saves will move over and all that.
You'll also be able to play, 1,000% more Nintendo and Super Nintendo games than you can on the Switch.
Yeah.
Which I learned this week that RetroArch is on Steam. I did not know that.
Huh. Neither did I.
You have to like request access to it through Steam, and I did, and it's instant. So I'm gonna test that out. I don't think it'll be any different than the standalone that I have, but at least with the Steam version, it will update to the newest version, I would assume, and I wouldn't have to download it, like and overwrite my install. So maybe that'll just work. I don't know. But that's kind of all I got, unless you have anything else.
No, I've talked enough that everybody wants me to shut up. I can't even hear them. I just know.
Phoenix Down is Yakuza Kiwami 2. Starting, it was supposed to start this week, but now it's next week. Drew had some personal issues to deal with, and he will be back hopefully next week. Yakuza Kiwami 2. If you want to shoot us an email, it's podcasts@ztgd.com. If you want to tweet at us, it's at N4G Podcast. You can follow me and Anthony. I'm at ZTGD. He is at Complacent Robot. You can follow the site at ZTGD Content.
No one's made it this far, Ken.
We haven't mentioned food one time.
No.
That feels wrong.
My heart's not in it today.
It's not, you're not feeling the food. I hear people mowing their yards, and I have to do that today. So I'm not looking forward to that. See any good movies?
I don't watch movies. I think we've gone over this. I don't watch movies, and I don't watch TV.
I watched a ton of movies. I caught up on a lot of stuff. I watched The Quiet Place Part 2. I love movies at home, like theater at home shit. So I watched Quiet Place.
I don't like theaters, so.
Yeah, I watched Quiet Place Part 2, which was good. I watched the Space Jam movie, the LeBron new one.
I've heard that was chaotic.
It is. It's like Ready Player One, but for Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to.
I enjoyed it.
Honest,
I enjoyed it.
I mean, I haven't. See, people are like, "Is it bad?" I'm like, "Well, Space Jam." So
it's a movie about cartoons playing basketball. I mean, what else do you want?
Like, I think people in their heads think that the first Space Jam was on the level of like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
No, it's not.
The first Space Jam is a bad movie.
But I mean, it's the nostalgia that you enjoy bad movies. It's fine.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like you can't enjoy it. I'm just saying it's not even good. I love Billy West. He should never voice Bugs Bunny ever. It's not good. I was about to say great, but it's not good. It's because not great implies it could be good. It's not good. It's not a good Bugs. It's like, because I can still tell it's Billy West.
I mean,
it sounds too much like him. Like, he's not doing a terrible Bugs by any means, but like, you should really I should hear Bugs Bunny more than I hear.
It's an
So-
interesting thing to see because we knew growing up that these characters would not always be. The voices are not going to make it. That's just
They've done a really good job at Warner Brothers. Like, the guy that plays Bugs now is really good. And the guy that played him before, too, was really good. Kind of weird that they switched. If they hadn't told me, I would have...
you know who does Speedy in this movie?
Who?
Gabriel Iglesias.
Does he sound like Speedy Gonzalez?
Yes, he does. It's really pretty good.
Good.
It's really pretty
I-
good.
I was shocked to see Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
That
Rick and
clip
Morty
showed up
is
online.
is a reference in it. Yep.
You can take him back.
Yeah. It's
Take your rabid ferret back.
yeah, it's a good scene. It is a good scene. I enjoyed
can't
it.
believe that they did. There's some weird is it Casablanca?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. That's where it's like,
If you look at the crowd at the end of during the game, there's a lot of really obscure characters in there. Like I saw the Jetsons, but then I also saw like what are those things called? The Hanna-Barbera like rhinoceros
I'm
thing.
racist. Oh,
What were those?
okay. I know what you're talking about. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know what they look like.
The
But
Murgalors.
did Harvey Birdman show up?
I saw the hippopotamus. What's his name?
Okay, I can't remember.
Yeah, he's in it. He's in the crowd. I saw him. I saw Fred, the brontosaurus from the Flintstones, is in the crowd. The clown,
What?
he's in the crowd.
All right.
The 60s Batman, Robin, and Catwoman.
Great.
Danny DeVito's Penguin is in the crowd.
So I'm gonna if you like kind of weird Warner Brothers stuff, a lot of people like I think skipped out on it because like I know I've mentioned Wabbit before, which ended up being called something else. The Looney Tunes show. There was one that was like done like a sitcom. That was a pretty decent series, and Kristen Wiig voiced Lola. So a lot of people are upset about Lola being redesigned, which was
Stupid.
listen. You have the internet. All your fetish stuff is fucking a click away. Fuck off with the kids movie, all right? But they redesigned Lola for that show as kind of like a ditzy airhead, and Kristen Wiig was amazing as Lola Bunny in that. But after that was done, they did a show called Wabbit, and that is like straight up old Looney Tunes, and it was fantastic. But Warner Brothers also, because Warner Brothers owns like Cartoon Network and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They did a Scooby-Doo show that everybody shits on because the art style, called Be Cool Scooby-Doo. Kind of looks like Family Guy art, is what a lot of people compare it to. It was the fucking best version of Scooby-Doo because, like, the characters are a little more self-aware of how they were seen in the original cartoon. So, like, Shaggy, in the first episode, Shaggy and Scooby point out the fact that if they separate, they're gonna run into the ghost, while the other three don't believe them. And it's like, it's so dumb, and the writing is so good. Like, it points out how stupid it is, but it's got that slapstick humor and everything. But the best part is that they gave Daphne a character. That she wasn't just the hot girl in the group, right? Every episode, Daphne had a new perk or hobby. So in the first episode, she now has hand puppets of everybody. And there's a great payoff joke in that. But then another one, she's a falconer. So she has a falcon on her arm at all times. One episode, she has a mustache.
Okay.
And Fred is irritated by the mustache. She's like, "You're just jealous because you don't have a mustache." And he's like, I would grow a mustache. There's an episode where they switch out Fred for like another person. So Fred starts leading children. Like they're stuck in a museum, and Fred is leading the group of children, while this other guy is basically a better version of Fred. And the payoff in that is a great read as well. But like, it was such a smart show. I don't know if it had more than one
It probably didn't.
likes. But like, they do some weird stuff with their characters that, I mean, it shouldn't be a big surprise because they do weird stuff with their DC characters all the time. But like, I don't know if you saw any of them because I know you're not like big into comics. But like, did you ever see their Hanna-Barbera reboot comics?
I think I've seen the artwork. I don't think I've
So like,
never
the
read them.
Flintstones was more of like realistic and gritty.
Yeah.
The Scooby-Doo was more science fiction. Like Scooby talks because he has like a helmet attached to him and stuff. Snagglepuss was one of
Oh, Snuggles.
he was a gay actor or something like that, and it's just like, oh my god, yeah. So I'm not like Space Jam having like dead in it. But like I definitely do recommend like Wabbit and whatever it later became. I think it was called the New Looney Tunes.
Hey, they
and
brought
Be Cool Scooby Doo.
they put Big Chungus in the Space Jam.
I saw that. You know how irritating it is to. Do you know how irritating it is when Sterling has another thing go viral?
Yeah.
So that is not the. I'm saying their last name only because I don't know what they identify anymore, and I know that their YouTube page is still under Jim Sterling, or was anyways. But anyways, because they're also the reason why Scott Cawthon has a career I'm sure they regret. But like they're the reason why that Five Nights at Freddy's creepy animatronics.
Speaking of nostalgia, the first season of Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe drops on Friday.
There's a prequel comic I picked up yesterday, so I have to read that first.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that, and then Titans comes back on August 13th for season 3.
I didn't even know it was getting a season 3. I knew it was. I hadn't watched. I never finished season 1. I'm so bad at watching dude. I'm so bad at watching television.
That
Like,
is
Drew
the best
keeps wanting
show.
me to get into
That's the best show
Supernatural.
DC's put out.
Like Drew just keeps going. Like, dude, you have to give Supernatural a chance. You don't understand. It has to wrap up in like a season, and I know it doesn't because it's like got like 24
No,
seasons.
it's
or whatever the
15.
fuck.
15.
Yeah, that's close enough. The fact that I'm only 9 away is, and it's not.
I don't
1
want to tell
10.
you how many times I've watched all 15 seasons.
I can't do it, man. Like,
I've
I'm
wa-
sure I can, but like I can't get that invested in just stuff that I have to watch.
Oh, I love it. Gives me something to do at night before I go to bed. All right. I think we're good.
I don't even have music to recommend. That's how sad it is.
Oh, there's like 5 bands that I pay attention to when they release an album anymore.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't have anything. This is a very boring podcast.
You know what's funny about
the
the 5 bands that I pay attention to when they release a new album? I think 4 of them released an album this year.
Oh, really?
Well, you had the Foo Fighters record at the beginning of the year, and then
Well, they just put out another record too.
who did?
Foo Fighters.
What are you talking about? They just put out an album at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, they put out like an EP of album music. The Bee Gees covers.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Never mind, I saw that.
Hail Satin. It's one of the best fucking names.
And then Offspring had a new record this year.
Did they really? What?
Yeah, it's called Let the Bad Times Roll. Came out in April, I think.
Jesus Christ, I totally missed that.
No
How
Effects.
are the rest of their albums?
Yeah, No Effects put out a new record. The Offspring album was the first one in 9 years, I think. It'd been a long time since the
Yeah,
last one.
yeah. As Days Go By was 2012.
Yeah, so it'd been a long time, but they put out a new album this year. NoFX put out a new record, and then the other band I pay attention to is Coheed. They put out an album last year. And then I used to pay attention to Tool, but after that last record, that was really bad. I don't know that I pay attention to them putting out albums anymore.
Who? Sorry.
Tool.
Oh,
Fear
Tool's last
Inoculum.
album.
Fear Inoculum was awful.
Speaking of people that I called that when it came out, like I've listened to it. This is very boring, and
It was a bad album.
That kind of rolls back onto the if you're. I don't care how great of an artist you are. You know what I mean? Like it felt like very up their own ass, and they hadn't been putting out new music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could not believe how bad that album was. Like I didn't expect. Like I felt like Tool has been on a trajectory of downward since Enema. But
I mean, the three of the members don't really do anything outside of Tool, and like Maynard makes his money elsewhere now. So like that's what happened. It's like I'm ready to do this, but you guys need to fucking finish your shit, and you take what 2 decades to fucking do anything. So it's like, why the fuck is he? Why would he have the same care for that project? I'm not saying that Maynard phoned it in, and I'm saying that like it felt like an album that was put out to say that they put out an album. And it's funny because around the same time they also put their music on Spotify when they were so much against it and stuff, and it's like it all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, because it's all about the money. It's like it doesn't matter how good you are at some point, you can't just ride on that forever. So yeah, it's cool. And then of course they sold that they sold that album for a lot more than it was. You had to buy it with the little LCD screen and the CD, so it was like a $90 album.
Yeah, I just paid the $10 for the digital download, and I wish I had it.
Fuck you, and fuck this whole packaging.
All right. Oh, and
Alex Gray's
Goldfinger put out an album this year too. I also pay attention when they put out new records.
I know one song from them, and that's all I care about.
I have all of their albums. They are a wonderful band.
Okay, it's time to wrap up the show.
Anyway, that's the end of the show for this week. Unless anybody says anything else, peace out, bitches.
Alrighty. And it goes something like this.
Epic fail. Welcome to the N4G podcast. $0.
This is going to be a very interesting episode.
Gather time.
Greetings, programs. I got lost trying to find my way to the secret underground N4G Radio lair.
The Wombat. And
Always with being angry.
Killer Wolverine. Play games, not consoles. No bad boys allowed.
And then I killed the dragon. 8.0.
Killed the dragon.